Welcome to the Lockdown Economy, a series of interviews by the think tank AlterContacts, where the real entrepreneurs share their insights. My name is Yulia Skupchenko, and today my guest is Juan Ramon Rangel Silva, the managing founder of REE, the coffee company of single origin coffee brands. Hello, Juan Ramon. How are you today?
Hi, Julia. I'm really good, really happy. At the same
Excellent.
time, exhausted, but really good.
Exhausted from all the conference calls, so from delivering the coffees, from what?
Actually, both.
Excellent. Well, we'll find out more about that in a second. So, single origin coffee brand. That sounds interesting. I have not heard of it much before. So why don't you tell me and our viewers what it is and how did the idea come up and what is it you're doing as a business?
Actually, thanks for the question. I think you really tackle the most important part of it at the very beginning is how the idea come up with this. And probably this, I will need to talk about myself so that people get to know why I came with this idea. Originally, I studied technology innovation management. I used to work in the intellectual property office of Mexico. I'm from Mexico. And I have lived in US, in Australia, and currently in Europe, in Belgium, specifically in Antwerp. Antwerp is the port that imports the most coffee around the world. In Europe, it has 40% of the share of all the coffee that is basically commercialized in the European Union. So coming back to the point, the interesting part here is that while I was abroad, being Mexican and not finding actually good Mexican coffee or either Mexican coffee around the world, really rings a bell to me because Mexico is it's in the top 10 of the biggest coffee country producers, and actually is fighting for the first place, or is in the top 3 at least, of the coffee that produce the most organic coffee in the world. So I thought to myself, how come it's that I'm, for example, in a fancy coffee bar in Australia, or I was in a really good cafe in Amsterdam, for an instance, and I didn't find actually, I found organic coffee, but not coffee from Mexico and with good quality. So I think in that moment, because my family come from some of the coffee regions within Mexico, Veracruz, that is known like the place where the coffee grow, because was the first place where the coffee in Mexico was bringing. So they bring it from the Antillas, a French crazy guy, bring it to the Antillas, then from the Antillas they bring it to Mexico, and the coffee grow. And it happened to have an amazing taste. So that is the reason behind what I said, the first thing that I need to do is to create a distribution channel for Mexican coffee, initially in Europe, because it's the place or is the continent that consumes the most coffee.
And so if I understand correctly, that basically you bringing in the Mexican coffee, so that's by the single origin, right? From specific farms of Mexico into the European market through a web platform.
Yes, this is pretty
Did I miss
interesting.
anything?
Yeah, no. So the first part is there are existing platforms and there is a lot of technologies, but normally the coffee is regulated by big traders. So we wanted to identify and support cooperatives that fit into a specific profile. So for example, or either they are social responsible with the producers. Normally they basically have associates that are not seen as producers. They are like associates. They are part of a community, like they have a membership. And they are small holders, which means that they have only 5 acres of land where they produce coffee on top of other agricultural products. So, yeah.
If I understand correctly, basically you find a way to connect the producers themselves directly to the web platform. Well, you being the mediator in that case, and you avoid dealing with the big traders and food markets and things like that, right?
Of course, we were looking opportunities not only for the producers, but also opportunities for the roasters, because the roasters now on, they want actually to become more sustainable on their own way, and they want to identify a wide diversity of coffee profiles. But the thing didn't stop there. The market and the needs from the producers actually push us to target the best coffees with the best stories within Mexico that have this criteria of they produce organically, that they can harvest organically, that they are socially aware about, and they give, for example, or have a good impact in the society or the municipalities where they belong. And at the same time also that they know that the product, or they're focused on the quality of the product, and they know that they have an amazing cup profile or taste profile.
And I know that you already have the registration or certification from the United Nations or for the SDG goals. Is that right? Can you tell a tiny bit more about that?
Yeah, well, I explain a little bit because we were focusing on, for example, two of our main coffee offerings. That is a coffee coming from Chiapas, Mexico, from a protected area we called Reserva El Triunfo, and also another coffee come from a really special area within Oaxaca, Mexico, called Pluma, like region Pluma. Those are coffees that come from this type of specific cooperatives that actually they protect the smallholders. They actually harvest organically and have some of the best practices. But the most important part is they have, one is about to have a protected appellation of origin, and the other already have it, which means is an appellation of origin is a product that has specific characteristics and features that make it special because of the region where they geographically belong, and also the technical or the technical aspect of the producers behind, like champagne, for an instance, or for example, tequila, or a special wine from Italy. So these two coffees come from that region.
I can see that you and I can talk about coffee and all the details for a really, really in depth,
Of
for a
course,
long time, and very in depth. I can see you're passionate, but this is a lockdown series. Let's return a little bit and of what happened to your business when the countries announced the lockdown.
Was, as you can imagine, immediately affected. No coffee shops, coffee bars open. So people were not going out, enjoying a cup of coffee. So all the restaurants closed, sales went down immediately. So in my case, actually pushes to think in a new strategy to actually not only distribute the product, you would say, as a commodity, which is not a commodity, and our customers don't think of at least our coffee as a commodity, but actually pushes like to be more challenging and go beyond that, and have a finished product, and be able to think more about how we can not only improve in the way we select coffees. We work with cooperatives within Mexico because we are there. We go at least 3-4 times per year, but also to go beyond and actually create the strategy to give or offer more to the cooperatives, to the community, and at the same time support and make a strong distribution channel for them during lockdown. And that was actually challenging because you need to, they need to still working in Mexico. The coffee need to be collected during the season where the coffee actually grows and need to be harvested. So, for them, that was not possible to stay at home at some point at the beginning of the lockdown.
So the coffee continued growing, the farmers continued harvesting it, they continued roasting, and the situation on your side was that the restaurants and other coffee bars and things like that canceled their orders, or maybe they just stopped ordering, maybe they just didn't cancel anything. And I know that you also, well, your webshop is also suitable for consumers, individual consumers. I mean, I ordered something from there, and it came in a nice box with a personal note. So it is very, it's a nice touch. So did the individual consumers continue shopping, or something changed there too?
Yes, actually, now, for example, we focus on boost more sales of the finished product, like the coffee that actually the individual consumers can enjoy. Normally, we offer the coffee in roasted beans, because we are looking to find a way, but we cannot talk about this for the private reasons, but we're looking to find the best way to actually go out from only offering the coffee in beans, which actually is how the beans preserve their freshness the most, and move to the next step in a sustainable way, because we can see all the effort that producers are doing at origin, and I will not talk only about Mexico overall, and then we want to honor that as well, because it's a really heavy process, a really intense process at origin, that could be actually in the other part of the world, basically take it away. So we want to honor that part at the same time. So that requires a lot of thinking, and this is basically the process where we are right now, with a remote team that, thanks to lockdown, the team grow. More people put their hands on, and they wanted to do something about it, and that actually was one of the benefits of the lockdown, that the team grow, and incredibly.
And so together you basically work on this great idea on how to make that work appreciated, really truly appreciated across the world. Um, do you already deliver across the world, or is it where's your reach for your coffee?
Yeah, for the time being, is mainly in the European Union. But for example, at different levels, we can say that we have had customers, for example, in Russia, for an instance, or Austria, or like Switzerland, Denmark, Ireland. So I mean, focus is more in the European market for the time being, and I think this is the outreach for the time being. But to be honest, we are really making a good team that is working remotely in other parts of the world, and they actually want to bring it in because they love the coffee. It's also really interesting coffee geeks, as we call it, but they are passionate about taste and about social and about sustainability. So I mean, so we are
Yeah,
looking
it's a
for
great
that.
combination. It's a good coffee and sustainability. I mean, what can go wrong, right? So tell me, do you know any of your competitors? Do you know how they have been dealing with the lockdown?
Yeah, and some of them actually also, well, of course, they were affected, and I think that the nice part is that we are a coffee community, right? So sometimes even within competitors, we can, for example, trade goods. Sometimes, for example, if they didn't import the product, we imported, and then we basically traded with them. I mean, coffee actually creates passion. So even between competitors, it's really nice industry, because at the end of the day, everybody learns from each other. And that's the idea, that we learn from each other and we make a nicer industry.
That's a great sentiment, and I think that something I also heard from another speaker who called it co-opetition. You know, collaborating for the better future of humanity, right? Doing what you do. So, have you been in touch with your customers? I can see that you know quite a lot about your competition, but what about the clients? How they have been handling the lockdown? Have you checked in with them?
Yeah, for example, in my case, I have like different type of customers. So for example, the B2B, and for example, where I distribute the most, they really appreciate the gesture that we keep on working to bring in coffee into the European Union, regardless. Actually, right now, they don't have this confidence to go ahead and purchase, but the offer is there. At the end, the consumers are also there. And from consumer perspective, like B2C, they have been appreciating the effort that we have been doing in develop a better web shop, so people can actually buy, making better deals for logistic and distribution. So, and to deliver the product that is for them, is a product that goes from a producer to the end consumer, and that is the beauty of this.
Yeah, it is indeed. And can you tell me shortly, maybe, what is your outlook on the next few months? You mentioned that you have the team, but maybe more detail. What are you planning for the future?
No, the planning for the future is basically to expand the different coffee profiles that we have, so that actually people be aware about the diversity of coffee profiles that Mexico has, which is pretty interesting. And I can talk hours about it, but you can read it on the website.
I can see, yes.
Yeah. And also working in some developments that help us internally to create more transparency and awareness about how the process works, because we have seen that people is actually really interesting to explore more about this kind of intensive and disruptive industry that at the end of the day is every day in every morning in the table of every person. And I mean, who doesn't enjoy in the morning start their day with an amazing fruity cup of coffee?
Well, you make it sound very, very delicious. I'm almost wishing it was morning, but it isn't. So you're betting on people and consumers that are not only passionate about the coffee, but are passionate about the journey that that coffee made before it arrived on their tables, right?
Yes, that they want to know more about it, and then they understand what a special product is made of. This is really important for us as well, that they like also the story behind, because I will see that the producers are amazing, they do their task, and we will say that we are the storytellers of that journey, and at the end this is for the people.
Yeah, and actually, I now remember that when I received the package and I took out one of the packs of coffee, it had a sign made by a family of this and this farmers in this place in Mexico, and that it makes it a very personal product. So yeah, indeed. So thank you very much, Juan Ramon, for sharing your insights with us.
No, thank you so much for inviting me. It was pretty exciting. Thank you for this, even remotely, exchange of energies, and to give me the floor. It's always appreciated.
And I think we cordially, on behalf of Juan Ramon, I invite everyone to check out his web shop and of course order a coffee. It's worth it. It's worth a try, especially if you're a conscious citizen. So I would like to thank everyone who joined us today. If you would like to get in touch with Juan Ramon or you would like to see his coffee store, you can find it in the link. You can find it in the text below the video. I invite you to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel. And in the coming weeks, we're going to have many more insights to share with you. So stay tuned and bye.
Bye. Thank you.